Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is you're watching this. How was your weekend? Did you do anything fun? Oh yeah, and happy belated Mother's Day to any of you out there. It's a very bittersweet day for me. Though the years you learn the best way to celebrate them, what works best for you. And of course, I had this little one. I am a baby mom, fur baby mommy, and I have a feathery son too. So yes, the cockatiel. So yes, this little one. So yes, him and his daddy took me out to breakfast yesterday morning, which was really nice. So yes. Um, so what are you drinking this morning? Um, I am drinking Earl Grey's black lavender with organic um, grass-fed milk, whole milk, and I am drinking and with organic stevia mixed in. So yes. Uh, so, anyways, all right. So let's talk about things that nobody wants to talk about. Don't like to talk about it. I get it. Um, I didn't like when my mom always talked about, hey, when something happens to me, XYZ, I'm like, I don't want to hear it because nothing's going to happen to you. And so I get it and understand it. But we're going to talk about things like why it's important um, to discuss these things and to be prepared in this manner. You've been diagnosed with cancer or not, like this is even now, like Sean and I, we kind of talk about these things and I'm like, hey, we need to do this because anything can happen, right? We're not promised tomorrow. um, so it's yeah. So um, but I will say, after everything that I've been through and seeing it, like with my mom and even with family, like I get it. So my dad and I talk about it now to prepare everything and how we want things. So um, now, also too, another good reason to do it is what people don't realize, like people change. When it comes to money and inheritance and things, people change. Things get ugly. They can get ugly. They, I don't know what it is, but it's just, they get greedy. They don't care what the other person wants. Seen it. Um, but like I said, this is for everyone. So if you're a caretaker, then you also need to talk about it too. With the person you're caretaking for, as well as yourself. So if you are in this position, then do something and tell someone. You can even tell someone to let your caretaker or loved one know that it is something that happens. So pass it along, right? All right. So this also might be a good option as well. When you can't to tell, like when you can't think straight. um I like if something happens, in a sense, like, or it would be good to tell someone, like if you have this, hey, um why I'm thinking straight, or why I'm the in other words, so for example, you were just diagnosed with cancer, right? Your mind's going all these different places. So it would be good to tell someone, hey, if something happens to me, my information's here. Okay. Um, just so that if you're not, because you don't, sometimes in those cases, you don't think straight. or even two, in the sense that some, like, you're passing. I'm gonna tell you right now, your family members are not thinking straight, because sometimes it's unexpected, and even when it's not unexpected, it still hits you hard. Um, so, and I will say this: just because you do this, just because you have your estate planning and everything set, it doesn't mean that you're giving up on your fight whatsoever. Um, my aunt with ovarian cancer, had uh, had planned everything. Like, she even picked out a headstone, and even, like, she had their funeral, everything planned. She picked out a headstone and everything. But she even, when it was my mom's brother, his wife, my mom went and stayed with him for a week to help him with everything. And in the back of the closet, she had found hangings set aside, just kind of what my aunt wanted to wear for her funeral, um, or, be buried in. And so, just because you do those things doesn't mean you're giving up. Because my aunt, she fought to the end. So much so, my aunt's whole life, she never flew on a plane because she was terrified to fly on a plane. But she fought so hard. She flew on the plane to go to Cancer Treatment Centers of America, and she also got to ride in a limo, something she always wanted to do. But they picked her up at the airport in a limo, and they, and took her to her hotel. But yeah, she even fought the fear of flying to be treated for that one last shot, to see if anything could be done to fight. So yeah, just because you do all of this doesn't necessarily mean you're giving up, by no means. It's just you're taking the weight off of yourself and off your family members. Okay. And also too, think about it in this sense: at least like, your things are going to where you want them to go, right? And your funeral is going to be the way you want it to be, to some degree, right? You have all that planned out for everybody, like what you want. There's nothing wrong with that. So keep that in mind. But I will say too, one thing to also keep in mind: if you want to donate your body to science, start checking into what that looks like now. Even if you're healthy and that's something you want to do, start checking into it right now, and get that set up, or what you need to do to get that set up. I say that as that was something that my mom had eventually wanted to do. She wanted to donate her body to science, and we, again, we thought we had time. And my mom went unexpectedly, and because we didn't have everything set up, we weren't able to do it. And so, again, keep that in mind if that's something you want to do. Also, do you have a burial plot? Do you want to be buried? Because if you donate your body to science, they're going to cremate you. So that's that option, but if you want to be buried, do you have a burial plot? Is it paid for? My parents bought their burial plots ages ago. And here's the thing: like, my mom, she changed her mind, and my mom wanted to be cremated. So that's what we did. So my dad, was like asking Sean and I if we want them, or he's going to sell them. So there's those options too. And then of course, do you want to be cremated, right? Do you want your ashes spread, or do you want them spread? So yes. But all of these things should be in your estate planning. Also keep in mind, what do you want to happen to your possessions and money? Is there someone specific or a nonprofit that you want this to go to? Make sure that you specify that. Also, get with an estate lawyer and find out the best way to do that with the laws in your state. Every state is different, okay? And I say that every state is different in a sense, even when it comes to like outstanding bills that you may leave behind, like with credit cards or anything like that, with changing things into changing things into other people's names. All of that is every state, different laws, right? Some is easier than others. Some people tell you don't die in a certain state. So because of their laws, it's yes. Now, I will say this. If there are any family members that you don't want anything to go to, or that could contest the will, please discuss this with an estate lawyer as to how the loopholes can be closed or as airtight as possible. Now, you can never stop somebody from contesting a will, by no means, but you can make it to where if they decide to contest it, it's very difficult for them, and that's what you want to do. Now, I will also say, keep this in mind. My mom had drew up their own wills, her and my father's own wills, and she used a law book to draw it up. Because I mean, that's all you have to have is like that and a piece of paper signed and dated. On it technically, I mean, you can even go online and do this. My mother's, it was so airtight. It was better than what a lawyer could draw up. So keep that in mind. Now, the estate lawyer, where that comes in handy for a couple of different things. One, if it's better to put things in a trust. Also to learn the estate laws of putting things in a trust. So like whether is it better for to put in the trust or put these things in, the family member's name that you want them to, like, what is the best way to do it that it's going to be easy for them and they don't have to worry about probate or go through probate. So it depends on what you want to do. So that's where the good thing that an estate attorney comes in, or a state lawyer. Another thing is, I know one that we were looking into, they have like this cloud where they keep these things, like these papers. So you get your copy, but they also keep it in their system where you can log into. And so that's good as well, because if you lose the will, then you don't have a copy, then you're SOL. Okay. So, so keep a few things in mind. Also, also, like I said, if there's a family member that you don't want, even if you have to say in your will specifically, like, I don't want XYZ to get anything, or sometimes the estate lawyer, again, like I said, this is where it's good just sometimes even just talk to one, comes in and, they say, like, if you leave them something small or like $1 or something, then they can't, like, if they try to contest it, they can't say that you forgot about them because you specifically left them something, if that makes sense. So, or also too, it may be completely different if you put these items in a trust. They might, even if they try to contest it, they can't do anything about it. So again, like, definitely, if that's the case, even if you just consult with an estate lawyer to find out what's the best way to do things, the laws in your state, and make sure, make sure you shop around too and find the one that works for you. In one case, a good friend of ours went with a lawyer that, this was not long after COVID. I think it was like a year after COVID, but it was still, anyway, he came out to the house and things, anyways, when this person passed, things still did not go as planned. What he wanted in his will did not go the way it didn't go the way he wanted. He didn't want his family to have anything, and they ended up contesting and getting a lot of the stuff. So, yes. And the lawyer, they weren't that good when it came to court. They still ended up screwing over the people who should have gotten the stuff because they didn't do their job correctly and the way it should be, and they just kept on nickeling and diming the people who should have gotten the stuff. So yes, I say that to shop around, make sure find out again, and this is and again, everybody's different. It depends on what your situation is. If you have family members that you don't want your stuff to go to, that they're going to contest the will, make sure you find an estate lawyer that's going to make sure your stuff goes the way it is, and they're going to fight for you in court and make sure that just that's all I'm saying. Okay, but not everybody has that situation. Not everybody, yeah. But people who do, keep that in mind, all right? But also, no matter how legally prepared you are, there's always going to be hiccups. My mom, she was a banker, always prepared. She, like I said, she had the will and everything done. But I swear, after my mom passed, it was like we were in the Twilight Zone. Things that were happening, I couldn't even make that stuff up if I wanted to. It was crazy, the things that were happening. I don't even know if a writer or creator could have made up some of the stuff. It was just crazy. It was like we were in the Twilight Zone. And and it got to the point when something else crazier happened. We're like, yeah, of course it did. It was crazy. Or, maybe my mom was playing jokes on us and still proving her points to let us know she was with us. Who knows? But yeah. But yeah, I know it's a tough subject because you just, even with my husband and me, with us, it's a tough subject to talk about, hey, what do we want to do if something happens? And but I will say, you will be glad that you did it, once it's done. Why? Because if you want somebody to have something specific, it's off your chest. Or you can just give it to them at some point if that's what you want, so you don't even have to worry about that at all. But at the same time, you will be happy you did it because things are being done after you're gone the way you want them done. It'll be a relief on your family, or less stress on your family afterwards. Trust me. I still remember the morning my mother passed, and I couldn't even find her doctor's number, her oncologist's number. And the funniest thing I would say is there was a card laying next to my bed, and it was the old one from when my mom first started going. So, this was from 8 years previous. And I picked it up and called it. And at this point, they had already built, she was in another office, they had already built the cancer center. And so she was across, her office was now across the street from across the parking lot where her old office was and where my mom got infusion. And she went over and I called that number. Funny enough, that number happened to be the number to the new infusion center across the street. And so I had them, of course, they have all the doctor's number and stuff on file there, and so I had them reach out to my mom's oncologist, and they called her and patched her in to me on the phone that morning. So when I say when things like that happen, you can't think straight. you don't think straight. It's such a shock on your system, and even that was unexpected, and and even when it is suspected, it's still there. Like, so you're never fully prepared, but you need, but being as prepared as you can be, you should be. Okay. So yes, I know, like I said, it's a lot, but it's something you should think about and should do. All right. All right. Well, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful week. Do something for yourself. Take care of yourself. And we will see you next week under the willow tree.